Okay, students, I have shared the paper over the chat. Okay, you can download it. And as all of you know that this is the last day of school for this program. That means this course. And okay, here we are going to revise the things while we are answering or while we are discussing very important sections of this past paper, right? Before discussing the first question, you can go through the required uh, theories or other things regarding to the first question, right? Okay, you can see here at the beginning of the question paper, then it is asking about the difference in between data and information. And here also you can see the uh, area you had to refer. Then you can see, so data are raw facts. That means mostly data are unprocessed things. And you know that then after processing data, you can generate information, because okay, these are very basic things, right? And after that, it is asking about database, right? So what kind of so when you are considering about database, again we can say that database is a collection of related data, right? And then next one is asking about metadata. You asked to briefly describe that, right? Then metadata, so that means that here provides a description of metadata characteristics and the set of relationships that link to data found within the database, right? So after that, then next one, the 5 types of users of database system. Briefly describe the task of them. So here, so then we have to go through these presentations, right? Strictly. Then so these 5 types of uh, users. So when you are searching on internet and when you are refer other things, right? You will get different answers for this question. Normally, so what were the things we mentioned in our course, right? Okay, we will organize answers. What were them? Then system administrators. After that, database administrators. Okay, then this one, system administrators, right? And it was a database administration. Then after that, database designers, right? Then system analyst and programmers, right? And hope you know about these roles, right? Programmers. Then after that, next one, so we can say the uh, final type of users or end users, right? So this kind of things. Okay, then so when we are searching for 5 types of users in our presentation, these types of answers we can find, right? So you should write when you ask questions related to these things, you have to based on these kind of theories, right? Okay, then next one is asking about data redundancy. Uh, Explain 2 issues for data redundancies. So these are very basic things, right? So data redundancies, right? You can see here Okay, since we are you know that this is the last day school. We are continuing this is as a revision day school. Okay, the main objective of this day school is revise the important things uh, we have done within this course, right? Okay, then we are using one past paper for revise all the things that we have done, most of things that we have done. Right here, the redundant data. So you can see here the normally redundant means unnecessary or duplicated data, right? And then after that, it is asking about issues caused due to uncontrolled data redundancy. So what kind of issues that can be arise due to these kind of uncontrolled data redundancies? Right, mainly what kind of things? Can you remember the things regarding to our data redundancies? What kind of things? Yes, these things, can you remember these things? And data inconsistency, right? So you should know the meaning of and should have a proper idea of what is a data inconsistency, right? Then you can, by going through this content, you can understand what does it mean by data inconsistency, right? And another issue, we can call it as data anomalies, right? So the problem related to then due to these inconsistencies actually, right? The anomalies are occurring, right? What kind of anomalies are there? Modification, insertion, deletion anomalies are there. So due to when users are attempt to modify, insert, or delete data in these databases or some databases. Okay, when there are redundancies, right? While users are attempt to perform these kind of tasks, okay, then these anomalies, problems are occurring, right? To avoid, you know that to avoid these kind of problems, then you have to remove data redundancies. Hope you know the way that good practices to follow uh, to reduce data redundancies. Okay, then you can formalize. The main thing you can follow in practice, you can follow formalizing databases, right? Then uh, again there are steps: first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, voice code normal form, kind of things, right? After that, it is asking about terms, terminologies, right? So again, these things are basic things: composite keys, multi-value key attributes, composite attributes, tertiary relationships, weak entity kind of things. So we know that composite keys are having so some okay, then some so here. So these things we will explain with presentation. Then you be able to understand proper way. Okay, the primary key, then other one composite key. Okay, then it is not available here, right? So normally composite attributes. So when you are considering composite attributes, it is having more than one attribute. So normally composite key can called as a key that has more than one attribute is normally called as composite key, right? So here we can say composite key. So when you are organizing your answers, you have to be careful about mention. So the important part is what more than one attribute, right? More than one attribute, right? So we can say more than one attribute. So here you have to focus, mention that key. After that, it is asking about multi-value attribute. Normally, we know that what is multi-value attribute, that normally attributes that can have more than one value for single entity occurrence. So normally that is the way you have to describe multi-value attribute. Yeah. So here then you can see that multi-value attribute uh, so can have many values for single entity occurrence. Okay. Then again, composite, then here, then multi-value attribute, you know, the very basic way that you can represent this one. So composite attributes, yes, you can see here, composite attribute, and the definition you can say regarding to composite attribute like this way. So normally we can say that attribute that can be further subdivided into additional attributes, right? So this is attribute. Then furthermore, you can subdivide it as then name is the composite attribute. Then so you can see that attribute symbol which can use for attributes. Then attributes can be divided furthermore like this way. So then this is the definition and understand. These are the things you should understand regarding to composite attributes. Then next one, it is asking about tertiary relationships. So normally tertiary means you know that regarding to tree and so relationships are when three entities are associated normally. So that is the thing you have to emphasize, right? Uh, three entities are associated and it should be a relationship, okay, and normally called as tertiary relationship. So next one is regarding to weak. Okay, before that we will search for tertiary relationships. Yes, so this kind of thing can be called as tertiary relationships, right? After that, next one is about weak entities. So a general thing regarding to weak entities means what? The normally weak entity is called as what? What kind of conditions are there? So existent dependent, right? Then a primary key should be totally derived from the parent entity, right? Okay, wait. Okay, then weak entity. So we mentioned about that the existence dependency related thing, right? So that means it is depending on another entity, because of without that other entity, the main entity, so weak entity can't exist, right? Here the way that weak entities are displaying, so like this way, the name dependent, okay, the employee uh, is dependent, so is depending with the employee. So you can see clearly see existence dependency there. The way of you should notify that in your diagrams. So after that, it is asking true false questions, right? So asking about the first thing, fields qualified to be selected but not selected as primary key, as known as candidate keys. So, okay, is that true or false? Right? It is a true statement, right? Normally, you have to state according to this question. If the statement is false, you have to justify your answer. Then you have to mention the reason, right? After that, when it is true, you just only need to mention just as true, right? Here, so the answer for this question is true, right? And you see here the Kavata candidate keys. Okay, this one here, they can be selected as primary key, but not selected uh, as the primary key. So then they called as primary candidate keys, right? Then next question, it is asking about the network model. One child record can have only one parent. Is this true or false? So it is asking about, then there are different types of models. Okay, then hierarchical, network, object oriented. That means so kind of models. So network model is asking about these questions, right? So the answer is false, right? For network model. Then so normally you can see that the network model there can be more than uh, multi, uh, multiple more than one parent, right? Here, then for single for this kind of child, we can if we are considering this as a child, right? And you can see here, so this one has two parents, this node and this node, right? Then this we can understand that this statement is wrong. Then you have to mention the correct reason there, right? Next question is about data manipulation language, DML, and is a language for retrieving and storing data in a database. Yes or no? Yes. So that means you have to state answer as true, right? So no need to mention a reason for that. So can you remember DML related things? Right? So you can retrieve and store data. Yes. Using these basic queries, you can perform that kind of tasks, right? Yeah. Then so by going through these introductions, you can understand the answer, right? So the next one is conceptual model focuses on logical nature of data representation. Conceptual, yes or no? Yes, it is correct, right? Here, conceptual model focuses on logical nature of data representation, right? And conceptual model is concerned with what is represent in the database rather than with how it is representing. So you can understand the important part here, right? So these important words here: what, then, how, right? So examples, these things, right? Then it is asking you to draw or appreciate a relational schema. Then this one becomes the the important section of the question, right? While you are answering questions, then here, then after looking at the question, you can easily see the question, and you can see so one entity is there and a weak entity can be seen there. Or is it not optional one? Okay, not a weak one, right? So multiple attribute can be observed there. Then other attributes are there, and these kind of primary keys are there of these entities and relationships attributes. Okay, one to many, and uh, okay, then cardinalities. So then how we can organize, appreciate a relational schema. Then there are different ways. So when you are searching for relational schema in Google, then you will see different types of symbols and ways uh, you can represent relational schema. Here, then in our program, we know, you already know that then we are using this kind of way to represent relational schema, right? So here, this kind of way, then okay, we will organize answer for so this question, right? Okay. Okay, then how you can organize answer for this one? So then we know that we have to first we have to track what are the entities are there. Then here this one and this one are entities, and after then we will select this one first in a student one entity. So when you are drawing, yes, you can mention like this way, student, and after that attributes, that means primary key you are mentioning first, right? Then you have to mention student, it has what, student ID, like this way. Can you get that? No, can't. So after that other attributes can be mentioned there, first name, middle name, last name. Okay, I will go through these things. Okay, then you have to write this first name there, right? And after that so middle name and last name can be mentioned here, right? So after that again for the course entity, we can organize answer. Then and again here for mention course entity, we have to mention here entity name as course. And here you know that you should mention primary key of that entity, then course ID should be mentioned there, right? After that so the mentioning the ID, while mentioning the primary key, you know that you have to notify it as the primary key by underlining, right? So this is very important to score marks at the exam, you know that. So other things, right? Other attribute you can mention like that, course name here. After that course name, and after that then you know then this has relationship and this entity has relationship with this one normally, and we can mention that that means student ID here, and like this way. The next one related to a multi-value attribute, very important when there are multi-value attribute. Okay, so again we have to so to represent multi-value attributes in a relational schema, you have to mention like this way, right? Same color you can use. Then after that you can mention you can give proper name, right? That name so here I use that here, then contact related to student, then we can say that student contact, right? After that you have to mention so students ID there, right? The student ID, like this way you have to mention here student ID, write that and mention it as a primary key. And after that you have to mention the contact number, right? And that also should be underlined. So this is the way you can organize answer to obtain full marks for this ER diagram, right? Again, you have to be careful about whether there is attributes of relationships, right? So if there are attributes of relationships, you have to do different tasks for representing relational schema, right? We discussed them, most of things in previous day schools, right? Yes, someone asking about, again, discuss regarding the multi-value attributes. When there are multi-value attributes, again, then previously we mentioned that student for student. So when we are representing a relational schema, then briefly we got that attribute name, and then other attributes also we got like that way. But if there is a multi-value attributes, okay, again, so for that attribute, we have previously we mentioned treated this. We have to treat it as an entity when you are drawing the relational schema. You have to give a proper name according to the multi-value attribute and the connected entity, and mention its multi-value attribute here, and its connected entity's primary key, and after that you can match with the main entity. So there are the things you have to be careful while you are drawing relational schema. Okay, you know that you can score more marks by drawing ER diagrams. So skills you already have that skills, the main skills, and by for drawing these kind of relational schemas, right? Okay, then we can focus on second question. This is related to database normalization, right? Another one, third one is regarding to ER diagram related things. Okay, we will focus on the second question, normalization related one. Okay, I will give 5 minutes for read and organize answers for this question number 2. To write answers for this kind of questions, then you should know about these basic things we have done in day schools, the things we have done in. So when you know about them, you should be easily organize answers for these things, right? So you should know about what is partial, what are transitive dependencies, okay, what is Boy's code dependency. So Boy's code normal form, right? Then here, then when you know about the basic things, so this part of discussion also would be an easier one. So additionally to that, there is theory related thing. Okay, students, here, at the beginning of the thing, it is asking about normalization. So they ask about what is normalization in DBMS. So we can say that previously we mentioned that it can be used for reduce redundancies, right? Then when you reduce redundancies, you can remove anomalies, right? And you know that more than basic normalization types, stages, right? First normal form, second normal form, third normal form is needed. We can mention. You can mention as Boyce code normal form. So your answer should consist that kind of things while you are organizing answers for this kind of question, right? But it's not then not then you would be able to score full marks for that kind of thing. Right. Then next question is asking about what is the normal form this table is currently in, right? There are partial redundant, then transitive redundancies are there. So transitive dependencies are there, partial dependencies are there, right? Then we can say here, this one is currently in first normal form, right? We can't see multi-value attribute kind of things. We are in this kind of diagram. So we can simply say that this is in first normal form. After that, it is asking about partial dependencies. So you know the definition for partial dependency. And if there are any partial dependencies about diagram, identify and mark them. So all the things we have to work with this kind of the arrow marks and indicators, right? So when considering about partial dependencies, okay, when considering about partial dependencies, we can say that definition, right? So normally how we can identify a partial dependency? When there is a partial dependency, you can identify, that means composite primary key there, then you can understand there is partial dependency. So whether you have to check whether there is composite primary key, then that thing can be mentioned here, right? Then normally you can say that dependencies are based on only a part of composite primary key are called as partial dependencies, right? So that's the way you should organize answer for this question, right? Then next one is the most important one. Then if there are any partial dependencies in the above diagram, identify and mark them. Previously we mentioned that, so only part of composite primary key dependencies. So we had to find them, right? Composite primary key you should be able to find first, right? The primary key is in here, this one and this one. Okay, composite. And but part of means what? Part of means what? Then composite primary key, what are the parts? A and D are the, when they be combining them, it is forming the composite primary key. right? So then A is part, D also another part. You can see that underline sign, right? So that's the way of, so two underlines means that, so if there was only one underline character, you can consider as that is the primary key. But then there are two things, right? Then it has marked like this way, then you can say that it is a composite key. That is the way you can recognize, determine it as a composite primary key or composite key, right? So then according to the definition, right? Then here, this theory, right? Composite key here, right? After that, you can see here. Okay, in this diagram, you can see this E and F are depending on A, right? Then you can say your answer. You can organize your answer like this way, like that. What is the way you can organize answer for this one? Here, A depends with E and F. So this can be considered for one answer. Other one, then so no, E and F are depends with A, right? Then after that, next one is B and C. Look at this one. So B and C, okay, are depending on D. Why it is called as a partial dependency, and this are generating composite primary, right? Then we can recognize partial dependencies. So then here this B and C. Okay, then this is where you can organize answer for this part. So next one is asking about partial transitive dependency. What is transitive dependency? After that, you have to recognize them. So can you? What are the things you can remember regarding to transitive dependencies? So what is the definition for transitive dependency? So transitive dependency is called as what? When there is non-prime attribute depending on another non-prime attribute. So what are the important things? Non-prime. Again, depending on another non-prime. So that dependency called as transitive dependency, right? So first, then you can search for what are the things? Non-prime things. So non-prime means what? That can't be a part of primary key. So we have to avoid with these kind of dependencies, that partial dependencies. That is okay. Then we are searching for transitive dependencies. Then we have separated that. So non-prime. Then this is non-prime, right? So there is H is depending with this one, right? So previously you mentioned definition, you had to write that. After that, dependencies, you can organize that H depending with G. And are there any other things? Here, this one. Careful about the side of the array, arrows, right? So that is the way you can organize correct answers. So then next one is the most important part, right? Asking about uh, normalize this table to confirm both third normal form and Boyce code normal form. Then you have to start from first normal form, then go to second normal form, third normal form, and Boyce code normal form. Right? Then follow and mark the primary keys. Right? So then that is a condition, right? So what are the ways? So I will give 2-3 minutes for organize your answer. Then convert this into a clearly short steps, normalizing steps. So removing partial dependencies, transitive dependencies, then you can go through these steps. Okay, then how can we organize the answer? So we have to clearly show steps, right? So when you are, then we know that this is in first normal form. So when you are converting this into a second normal form, then you have to then think this one is a table, right? So one table, right? Then this table has data, right? So that is the thing, right? Then we have to break them into, then when we are converting into second normal form, then this is in first normal form, right? Then we have to break them into different tables, right? So relations, that means here, then we can say look at this A, E, and F, right? A and E and F. Then here, because of we had to remove partial dependencies. Previously, we mentioned that partial dependencies. And so A, E, and F, right? Then we can bring them into a one table, right? We can mention it as this way. And after that, with D, directly on D, what are the things that are depending on B and C, right? So the main goal objective is what? So then you know that what is the reason for partial dependency. So then when there is composite primary key, then when different things are depending on that composite partially, right? Then we have to remove them, partial dependencies. So D, we can mention as, so with D, it is depending B and C, right? So again, after that, so both A and D, what are the things that are depending? So both A and D, again, so we have to mention them in, make another relation for them. So what are the things that are depending? So G and H, so according to this transitive dependence. So no problem that transitive dependencies are there. Got that because of this is the second normal form. So we can mention like this way. Right? So second normal form, while you are converting a second normal form, so you have to make these kind of tables or relations, right? Then third normal form, you have to remove transitive dependencies, right? Then here transitive dependency. While you are going to second normal form to a third normal form. So here in second normal form, previously there was a transitive dependency, right? Here. So we have to break it. So that is the only thing you have to perform in this stage, right? So what is the thing third normal form you have to perform? Then you have to again mention as third normal form. Mention all of these things, steps. After that, you have to remove transitive dependencies. So this can be break again after all three steps. You can mention that A, D, and H here. This is depending, and usually also here these things were depending. Then then you can break this. Okay, G, H is depending with H, G, and E is we can mention that E also depending with right. Then we previously recognized them, right? So you can remove these things. So in this step, so that's the way. They are the things. Steps you have to mention while you are normalizing. So again, then when you are going to a third normal form to a Boyce code normal form, what are the things you have to do? Here, look at this one. A, E, and F, right? So you can mention like that way. Then the previous steps. Okay, then we mentioned that A, E, F, and is D. It is depending B and C. Then so by going through these steps, you can convert this into Boyce code normal forms. So that is the way you can organize answer for the question number 2. And then this theory section is not a complex task. So database is a collection of what kind of data? You can say that related data. So then we call a database and what together as database system. Here there should be DBMS, database management system. So when database management system getting together with a database, it can form database system. After that, what DBMS? The DBMS that supports database located at single site is called as DBMS. Centralized DBMS, right? Then next one. Is a language used to describe content of the database. DDL, data definition language here, right? What binary relationship exists when two entities are associated, right? Okay. Then it is asking about draw the appropriate relational schema again for the following AR diagram. Okay. we already discussed the way that drawing ER diagram, relational schema for a given ER diagram. Then additional thing is there are attributes for relationships. So when there are that kind of attributes for relationships, you have to develop a relational schema furthermore. So hope you can manage this answer for this one. Then next one would be important. So again, the ER diagram related question. Right. Okay. I will give again 5 minutes and try to organize a answer for this question number 1. That means of question 3 part 1. Okay, we didn't discuss about this kind of question today. Okay, then we can focus on this question. Sometimes this would be the final discussion for the day, because of then we can discuss about normal forms, right, relational schemas, other basic theories regarding on these things, right. Last day school we discussed about SQL's related questions, and I have given 2-3 questionnaires for you. And okay, we will okay, within 5 minutes, okay, read this question and take idea about this question and try to identify entities, right, their relationships and primary keys, and these the justifications, right, superclass, subclass relationships, and suitable ER diagrams. Try to organize your answers. Okay, I will give 10 minutes, right? Then finally we will I will discuss answers. Okay, students, we will discuss answers for this question number 3. And so first one, it is asking about identify the entities that could be used for about requirements. So hope all of you have identified them. Okay, I will yes, this one. Okay, you can see entities of that. Then here, person, employee, physician. So you know that this is a model answer. Okay, there may be some alternative things. Nurse and ward, bed, laboratory, technician. They can be considered a hospital and weak entity. There, right? So you can you should be then here at this stage. You should only mention as what are the entities. That means just words you have to entities. You just need to mention. You don't need to drop, right? Anything. And identify suitable attributes for primary key if any of for each entities that you have identified, list one composite attribute, right? Then for each so person, then you can say that person ID, right? Okay, you can mention it as a person ID, right? And like that way, again, that kind of IDs should be mentioned. So at this one, we can't see any IDs here, right? Then every entity should mention then physician ID. Like that way, you have to then. It might have not given here, right? But you have to create that one. Understood, right? Then here, so this is a model. Then you have to modify that, right? Physician ID. Then he's actually this is not the dropping stage, right? Physician ID. You can just mention in words, right? What are the other things? So bed, if it is bed, then you can mention like this way, bed ID, like that way. Ward, if it is ward, you can mention that ward ID, right? And technician ID, tech ID, or other kind of that way. Then all the entities must we have primary key, right? So other attributes you can mention so, uh, like this way. Then other attributes most of things are here are correct, like so when you are mentioning then primary key, you can give like so this way also acceptable, right? Right. Then it is asking you to define composite one attribute. So here the bed, this one, look at this one, right? Bed number and room number. So this bed ID attribute has. So then we can consider this as this as composite attribute, right? Composite attribute. Understood. Are there any weak entities? You can justify your answer. Yes, what? Why? Outpatient visits hospital. An instance of a visit cannot exist without an outpatient. So then we can say that outpatient is weak entity. right? So then here you can understand there is a peak entity. Then next one, asking about, is there any weak entity? Yes, justified that. Then after that, identify a list of likely superclass, subclass relationship. Justify your answers, right? How you can organize that. So here you can organize the answer like this way. For the question D, right person can mention there, can be mentioned there, and after that, so all employees, physicians, and patients are persons. After that, so employee types, you can mention there this as technician, then staff, nurse, and patient types. You can mention as outpatient and inpatient. So there are the ways you can justify and organize answer for the question D. And after that, finally, it is asking about draw suitable ER diagram for above given requirements, state any assumptions you made. Right, then this is the way that you have to organize this answer for the given scenario. Right, okay, we have discussed today, we have discussed answers for question 1, 2, and question 3, right? You try to write answers for at least 3 past papers of recent past papers. Then you would be able to prepare most of questions, and you can refer textbook that course materials and presentations. And okay, so here that's all for today, students. And actually, this is all for the whole course. Then so this is the last day school for the database management course, right? Here so we are going to end the meeting for today. If you have any problems or questions, you can contact us over the email or other kind of ways. Okay.